Hey guys, it's Kelsey. Happy Groundhog Day. And today we have a hop for Groundhog Day in which we are scrap lifting ourselves. So this is one of my favorite layouts I did a couple years ago when I had a P13 kit. I believe it was P13 New Moon and Soulmate. And since I have another P13 kit this month, I really wanted to draw inspiration from one of my past P13 layouts. And I love that one. I thought it'd be a really good one that would translate into doing a wedding layout. So again, I'm using two photos. Instead of having two smaller photos, I have two 4x6s. So I'm upscaling the proportions a little bit. But I still want to do that same type of mixed media. I still want the same type of distress layers. I'm going to be pulling some embossing floss in to do some of that in my little clusters. I really liked using that on the previous layout, so that's kind of what I'm going with. I'm already being stingy this month. I'm pulling in a wood grain from my wood grain pack to supplement so I don't have to cut into another paper from this collection. But I'm just going to go ahead. I matted both photos in white. I'm going to matte both of them again in that wood grain. And then I'm going to distress the wood grain similar to what I did on the initial layout. But this wood grain I really like, so I'm gutting it so I can use it throughout the month as kind of an extra piece and an extra layer. I love that wood grain paper pad. I know I say it like every month when I use it, but it just goes great with every single collection. And I think especially with P13, that wood grain is a really nice addition. So I'm going to go ahead and ink everything in my Ground Espresso ink, which is my favorite brown. And then we'll start layering. I know I'm going to overlap those photos a little bit. But after I do the inking, I really need to focus on doing the mixed media. On the initial layout, I used a dry, wide paintbrush, and I basically created a dark navy by mixing blue and black and silver, I think. And I kind of did this dry brush technique, and then I did some white texture paste through a stencil on top of that. Or on the initial layout I did gold, but on this one I decided, since it's wedding, I didn't really want to use acrylic paint. I decided I would go with some Heidi Swapp products for the dry brushed area, but I am going to go in with the same plus sign stencil and just some white texture paste for that same look. But you can see I'm just using my Tim Holtz Distress tool to chew up the edges to give that a little bit of texture before I glue everything down. And I'm really going for kind of the distressed, antiqued, vintage feel, since the vintage is the theme of this month. I'm really going to try to pull in those different elements by grunging things up with ink, tearing things, that kind of stuff. So I really like using this as one of the earlier techniques on this page, just to start out having a little bit of interest with some beat up paper. I really like the distress edge on the wood grain too. I just think it looks really nice. So I had to clear off all of the fuzzies. I'm going to go ahead and glue down my photos so that the mats are done. And then I think I will start working on the mixed media. But yeah, I really want to focus on the P13 products on this page. You'll see me pulling a little bit of the 49 and Market stuff. But this being the first page this month, I really wanted to focus on the kit, which is the bulk of the kit I'm trying to kill, even though I brought in a lot of supplemental products for the vintage vibe. Inking the torn edges too, just so I kind of keep that going. I wanted to dirty up the white core a little bit so it didn't look too fresh. But now that's done, I'm going to overlap them just like this and glue them together. And that's similar to what I did on my inspiration. I'm really trying to start out being really close to my inspiration layout. And now I'm just trying to figure out spatially how much I need to do with the mixed media. So I'm just going to go in with my pencil and mark the corners of where my photo is going to be, and that way I know where the photos are, so when I do the mixed media, I can make sure that I go out far enough, because if I don't do that, I always do my mixed media and I really like it, and then it's right behind my photo and you don't see any of it. So there's that paintbrush. It's still dyed blue from the first layout that I used it on, so I knew it was the right brush. I'm using some Heidi Swapp texture paste. I'm going to use the gold and the white, which I really, really like. I started out doing this gold. I'm kind of going around and just adding the vertical brush strokes, and then I'll go out and do the horizontal brush strokes. I just want this peeking out from all of the photos. But after this dries, I go back with some white and do a couple streaks of the white shimmer texture paste over top of the gold, and it gives a really cool effect. I hope you can see it in the close-ups, because it's really cool seeing the gold and just the little streaks of the pearlescent white. I just really liked mixing those two together. But it's a pretty simple technique. I'm just taking this wide dry brush, and just dragging that paint out. I really want you to be able to see the paint strokes, so I'm trying to keep that texture within the texture paste so you can see it. I'm just fighting to drag it out enough so that you can see it once I put my layers back down, because I still feel like a lot of this is going to be covered, so I'm just trying to make sure there's enough of it so when my photos are back down there's still enough. So you can see I'm kind of trying to see how much is covered. I'm going in with the white now, and I'm curious to see how well you can see this on here. But once it dries down, the metallic and the pearlescence of these texture pastes really shine, and having that white blended in with the gold is just so pretty. So I'm just going in with a couple streaks of that, and then I'll set that aside until it dries and just start focusing on some layers. So lots to work with. I went ahead and fussy cut both pages of the cut aparts from this kit. I have not fussy cut any from that mini paper pad you can see up there, which is just like green leafy stuff. I don't know if I'll even have to this month. I'm glad I have it because I know I'll use it, even if it's with other kits. But I have so much like leafy stuff to work with between all the stuff from 49 and Market I'm including this month. I don't even know if you'll need it. But I'm just going to sort all the cut apart pieces. This collection of stuff here is from this kit, and I definitely want to use all of this cut apart stuff. So I'm just going to organize it really quick into its kind of category so I can easily find what I need. And then I am going through the 49 and Market kind of layering bits to find a couple distressed antique-y vintagey layers to go behind the stuff before I start embellishing. So I'm just pulling out a couple things I think might work. I just really, really loved this mixed bag of layering stuff. I love how everything is different, and there's a bunch of different sizes, so you can really find what you need. I'm finding a couple pieces to layer behind that right-hand photo. I thought about also using this envelope. I thought about maybe using this doily, but I edit a little bit because it got to be too much too fast. I don't want there to be a lot of big layers because everything I add to these photos is going to cover up that mixed media. But I really like these two layers I have to the right. I really like this little tab I'm thinking about adding. I really wanted to get several animals on this layout because there are a lot of animals that come in this collection, and I wasn't sure about using them for wedding or not, but with this type of aesthetic and with my wedding vibe kind of being that rustic romantic, it felt very fairy tale. I love the animals. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get several of them on here. I don't want a ton of those animals left over at the end of the month. So I figured if I could get like 3 of them on this first page, I thought that would be a good start. So I like the little squirrel that's looking into the photos. I have a fox and a little bird I'm going to have sitting next to each other looking into the photos. And I'm planning on those being my 2 kind of embellishment clusters. I decided to move the fox up a little bit. One thing with a couple of these wedding photos, there was some road construction going on in the background. And in a couple of the photos, the photographer didn't like edit out the orange. It's very distracting. So I decided I would just cover up those parts of the photos with embellishment. So that's why I decided to shift the fox up a little bit. And then I was happy with how that was looking. So I went back to my background to do the second layer of mixed media, which was that texture paste through the stencil going on top. And oh, you can really see the white and the gold. I love mixing those two things. I'm going to have to do that more often. I don't do a lot of mixed media, but when I do, I kind of pick a product that I want to use on the page. And I really like mixing the two different Heidi Swap texture paste. I think that turned out really cool. But anyways, I did the stencil, so that's again setting aside to dry, and now I'm trying to figure out more of these clusters. I like that I have the animals included, so now I'm pulling in a couple of the leafy sprigs for another layer. And before I glue anything down, I really want to get it stuck down to the background. So I pull my page back in. It's not totally dry, but I think it's dry enough to where I can keep working on it without messing it up. The brush strokes are dry. It's just the plus signs that weren't 100% dry. But I do want to gut what's hidden behind the photos. There's a chunk that's going to be hidden. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that. I don't know if I'll use the mixed media side or the back side of this in future layers, but it's the first page of the month. So I really wanted to have a scrap of this left over for a future page. So I'm just going to gut this really quick. And then I will back it and glue down my photos. And then once my photos are glued down, then I'll be more free to kind of glue down my embellishment clusters. But up until now, I was just experimenting because I didn't want to glue anything down until I had the background finished. So I think I'm just going to use some wet glue to stick this down. I've preferred this lately just because it just is easier. I didn't have a problem doing the glue tape. But I don't know. The wet glue I've been liking lately to back these. So now that that's stuck down, I feel like I can glue down my photos and then I can keep working. I am going to be gutting these little 49 and Market layering bits too. I really feel like I can use those for future layers as well. Just because so much of it was covered and I don't know. So I even gutted a section of both of these. So really the only thing I'm using is the part that you're seeing peeking around the photos. And again, I'm inking everything in that brown ink. I think that adds such a cool vintage look really quickly. So now that I have all of that gutted, I'm going to glue down these layers and then get them onto the background. Another thing from my original that I'm scrap lifting that I really liked was the distressed torn peekaboo areas on the edge of the layout. So I definitely want to incorporate that on this one. And that's another reason I really wanted to gut the wood grain from behind the photos because it's a really good size to back where the peekaboos are going to be. I thought it'd be really nice having that wood grain shining through the pink that would tie back into the wood grain mats. So now that these layers are officially glued down, I feel like I'm free to embellish. So I'm going back with these bits that I've added before, using some wet glue on some of them that are more fiddly, using my glue tape on the bigger pieces. But I do want to incorporate the embroidery floss. That was something I really liked doing the first time I had a P13 kit and something I did on that original layout. So I'm just kind of pulling different bits here, crumpling them into little thread bundles, and then I will glue my embellishment over top of them to secure them and kind of sandwich the threads between the two die cut pieces. And I think that's a really cool layering look too. And I don't know why, but that gives me that vintage vibe as well. So that's something I'll do in a couple different areas on this page. I am going to pop the squirrel up on some foam, so there's a little bit of dimension there. And then that little ticket from 49 and Market is going to be the base for this other cluster. So you can kind of see I'm doing a spriggy thing, and then I'm going to do another bundle of that thread. And then when I glue the fox down, it'll secure the thread. So I think that's a really cute, addition to the clusters on this page. The little bird that's going to be sitting with the fox is also going to be popped up on some foam. So I really like that the bird and the squirrel both have a little bit of dimension. Everything's very flat so far. So I like having a couple pieces popped up on some foam. But I think that's looking really nice. I'm going to go in and start on the peekaboo clusters. So in similar areas to what I did on my original, I'm going to use my distress tool just to chew into the top of this paper. So I get this little peekaboo that's really distressed and antiqued. And once I kind of get it the size I want, I'll back it with the wood grain just to create a little pocket for me to tuck a little bit more embellishment up there. I'm going to do a thread bundle and maybe one of those little cut apart pieces just to peek out of that little peekaboo for some interest. But I think that's such a cute little thing that you can add on a page when you're kind of thinking a corner is too plain or there's needs to be something along the edge of your layout. I love doing these little peekaboos. They're super easy. So I think I'm almost to where I like it. I don't know if I back this one or if I go ahead and, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do the second one. I had a tiny little peekaboo on a kind of complementary corner just so it kind of was balanced. I wanted another little section. So there's 2 little peekaboos and then I'll back those with the wood grain. So I love that. I love having that wood grain peek through the peekaboo. I think it ties in with the layers around the photo really well. So I'm just taking my glue tape to form a little pocket, and then that way I still have freedom to tuck stuff in to glue stuff down, but it fills in the 12 by 12 gap that I created by cutting into the background. So I'm going to get both of these done, and then I'm trying to see what I'm doing. I end up going with one of the tiny little mushroom cut aparts that I fussy cut to go in the peekaboo at the top, and I think that's really cute. I don't really do anything to the peekaboo to the left. I like that it's just a little pop of wood grain, but for this one at the top, I wanted there to be something. So I think those little mushrooms look adorable. I'm going to take a little thread bundle to glue down behind the mushrooms, and I think that's all it really needs, just a little surprise. I think it coordinates really well with what I already have going on, so I think it's very complimentary. It takes me a minute to kind of get the threads situated back there and to glue them down with my glue tape without shifting them too much. But once I get the mushrooms glued down, it kind of gets everything secure. So there they go, my cute little peekaboos. And then now I'm going to go back to the photos to see what else I want to do. I definitely want more layers. I struggled a lot on this page with wanting more layers but not wanting to cover up the mixed media that I did. So it's a lot of back and forth between adding just enough to kind of give me the look I want. I did want some more layers coming out from the embellishment cluster, so I did take one of the fishtail banners. I inked it and I cut it into 2 pieces, so I'm just going to have a banner coming out from both of my clusters just so they're kind of mimicked and balanced and everything. And I think I'm going to try to add a cluster towards the top. I'm trying to remember what I did next, but I definitely want some more layers. And one of the things from the original that I did for my layers was glassine bags and doilies. I really like the 49 Market mixed bag. I know I've already said that, but it kind of gives you that look with lots of different pieces, whereas before all I had to give me that look was doilies and glassine bags. So even though I have a couple of those pieces I've incorporated, I still wanted to nod to my original and have a glassine bag and doily included in the layers because I think they're really neutral, nice textural things you can add. I did take one of the stickers from the sticker sheet and added that on top of the right-hand photo. It just says, "I love you with all my heart and soul," which I thought was appropriate. I'm also going to add a blue one down by the squirrel that says, "You complete me." And I think that's a nice little touch. I didn't want to add too much blue. I really like the brown and pink with the pops of green I have on this page, but there is a blue sky in the photo, so I think having that one sticker in blue at the bottom isn't distracting at all. This is where I'm going to go in and add some more layers to the top. I thought it was just missing something. It needed some more stuff at the top of the photo. So I'm going to add a glassine bag here. And then I'm going to go in with a doily just for some more texture. I'm trying to drag the layers out to the top of the left-hand photo. There's a lot of layers going around the right-hand photo, and I just want to fill in kind of where it feels empty. So the doily helps. I definitely want some more layers on top to kind of fill it in. I think the glassine bag and the doily is too much white in that corner where there's not much white anywhere else on the page. So I definitely need to add some more stuff. So I added this little leafy sprig just to break up the white a little bit. And then I will go in with another word sticker that says two hearts that become one, which I thought was also very appropriate for a wedding layout. So I really like P13's sticker sheets, especially their word stickers, because they are on theme for the type of collection it is, but there's plenty of words that are also very versatile. And I feel like I can find a sticker to go with whichever page I decide to use. So I did decide to add that up there as well. And then I kind of was thinking I needed an extra, like texture, another dimensional piece. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for my title. And then I realized on my original I used wood grain as my finishing touch, or wood veneer. So I went to my wood veneer and I pulled out a bunch of these little hearts to use as my finishing touch. But then I remembered I also had my freckled fawn wood veneer alphabet that I recently got. So I decided to do my title as love in the wood veneer, just running down the side from underneath the fox. So I really like how that's all connected. It's not distracting, but I like that as an addition with the wood veneer, and then it'll all balance out once I have my little wood veneer hearts scattered around. So I love adding the wood veneer, which is not something I threw in this kit. I didn't throw in any wood veneer. So if I'm looking for finishing touches and extra pieces, that is something I might sneak in throughout the month because I think it was the perfect final touch for this page. So I'm just doing 3 little clusters of 2-size hearts in a kind of visual triangle format. And I think that looks really cute. I think I'm almost done here. I thought about adding some more layers. The tab I took off to add the sticker with the doily, I'm going to add back behind the glassine bag just for another layer. I really didn't need it, but this month with the vintage kind of theme, I think the more layers the merrier. So this is how it turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out everyone else's Groundhog Day layout to see what one of their layouts they're scrap lifting. But I love this one. I thought it was a good one to kind of kick off this month in this kit. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.